This is the Analysis in Chains with Nathan Williams and Neal Kieran.
Hello, Neal. Welcome to Analysis in Chains. Welcome to all our listeners. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been a fun week. I'm sure many people noticed it was altcoin season for a while there. A lot of these coins that are not, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum, that's how people generally describe altcoins, and they all did very, very well. And then all of a sudden, in the last 2 days, Bitcoin really shot up, and yeah, it really does feel like the good times are back.
Let the good times roll. In the midst of doing all of these good times, I think there have been a couple of things this week that have really highlighted the issue of trust and the issue of being careful in the crypto world. Have you been following along with, for example, Savedroid?
Yeah, like the whole Savedroid thing was a kind of a weird one. On one hand, it sounded like, oh, it's just another scam. Oh, well, there you go. And then it turned out it wasn't to be a scam. And now everyone is really up in arms and very, very upset.
I would have been happier if it was a scam, honestly. The friggin' thing. Here's the deal with Savedroid from my personal, frustrated, angry point of view. Thing is, this was a BaFin-approved startup. Okay, they raised 50 million, something like that. BaFin is the German financial regulatory authority. So these guys had big backers. They've got the regulator approved them. They've got a lot of high level advisors. They're not nobodies, and they raised a pile of money. And what happened was they did this publicity stunt, and it appears in all the papers. Someone runs off with $50 million, and do you know how I found this out? I found it out because one of my friends, who is raising the seed round for his token sale, phoned me in a panic because one of his investors was saying, "I'm not sure I want to be in the crypto space at all. This is scary." Thing is, that guy was also potentially one of my investors. Now, in the end, he didn't back out, but it very nearly derailed two different fledgling investments. And if that happened to two, I'm sure it happened and actually did derail others. And even if it just, delayed it by a couple of weeks because of fear, that a couple of weeks can mean the difference between success and failure in this business. Now, this was really irresponsible, and I take it personally.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think everyone has been impacted by it. And, it is, while central to crypto, is trust. But we're supposed to not trust anyone. That's what they always say. With Bitcoin, you don't need to trust anyone in terms of handling or taking care of your Bitcoin. And this highlights, how fragile this whole ecosystem is, because it is like the wild, wild west. No one wants any form of authority, no form of centralization, even to protect consumers. And we've even touched on this in the past, that we could see, two parallel ecosystems emerge. One being the more, let's say, regulated to a point ecosystem. These are people who are, going along according to the New York agreements, the various local laws. And then you have those who are completely pure decentralized, that they're not reachable by the law. Like, for example, they don't follow KYC regulations. You can be anonymous when you trade and buy crypto. And then you have like the Coinbase now, which is becoming a lot more, let's say, regulated, or it's working with the IRS. And we saw today that WikiLeaks can no longer use their service, which a lot of people are now very upset about. So it goes to show that some people are very big into this whole pure decentralized world, but then for the average consumer, I think that's a very difficult thing to sort of get involved in. I'm sure that the masses would be more drawn to the likes of Coinbase. And then we're going to have to see, okay, which ecosystem will thrive, which one will become more of a success. It's so hard to tell right now. And And stories like Savedroid don't help the whole pure decentralized ecosystem. But the thing about this ecosystem, it's designed on attacks. It's designed on people attacking it from different angles, be it through hacking to take money or to take down sites, and it comes back stronger. It learns from its mistakes, and this is the unique thing about crypto is that it's tried and tested. Ideally, it's tried and tested before it rolls out to the masses. And we've often said about Facebook and the likes and the problems that they have. This startup world is you make things and what is it? I think you break things and move very fast, very quickly, and you disrupt the system. And it's more about developing a product and getting customers as quick as possible, and then you worry about the bugs and the kinks in on the way. Whereas crypto is more about figuring out the kinks and bugs early, and then having a very robust product that's very hard to take down. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the ecosystem evolves from here on.
You brought up a really interesting point about the nature of trust and how Bitcoin and all crypto is really marketed as trustless, but really what it is, it's a moving of trust. It's shifting trust away from one area and putting it somewhere else. So even with Bitcoin, it's not that Bitcoin is completely trustless. It's that the transactions are trustless. It's that we don't need to trust a third party to move money from my account to your account. But what we instead have to trust the people we're giving money to. So, people don't usually transfer money for no reason. They're usually trying to buy something. And so if I'm transferring money to you, usually it's because I expect you to give me some sort of product or service in return. And either you have to send the product or service first, or I have to send the money first and then you send it. But either way, you've moved trust to the endpoints. In a similar way, whenever you're dealing with any sort of financial transaction, there has to be some sort of level of trust. I mean, I think I saw someone say that the three most important assets of any financial industry, any player in the financial industry, are trust, trust, and trust. And so when you come and have a scam, well, that is a big deal. But I guess in crypto, people sort of expect them. But when you come and have a hoax, that in a weird way is worse. Because then you don't know, can you even trust these guys that have gone through due diligence, that are BaFin approved, that have the big players behind them. They're trying to make a point of, you really got to do due diligence, but they made it in such a poor way. Anyway, I'll stop ranting on it, but I think it's important to remember that trust never evaporates. It only moves to being between different parties.
Yeah, I agree. And what we may need to see is that more ICOs are smart contract operated. In other words, that if I send Bitcoin or Ethereum to an ICO, like ideally someone has verified that there's a smart contract in place that would trigger the issuance of tokens and stuff like this, as opposed to, I'm going to send you money and I'm going to assume you're going to send me tokens back. I have no way of knowing I'm going to get tokens back off you. So hopefully we'll see some solutions now come into this space where maybe someone's using a decentralized platform for ICOs. I know there's a lot in development out there, and maybe we'll see more of those solutions come into space to help enhance that trust that you were talking about.
Hey, speaking of trust, what's this I hear about Verge?
Yeah, a lot of YouTubers were on Verge's case for the last 2-3 weeks. It just seemed to be this running joke, and I think it made it easier for YouTubers to come up with some content. So Verge markets themselves as a privacy coin, and there's a few out there, and really
like Monero,
right? Like Monero, Zcash, and the likes. And it really wasn't getting much traction until one day John McAfee, who is, I don't know, I think you're better off doing your own research on what you think.
Isn't that the guy in charge of that antivirus software that ended up being, selling and, becoming like this big celebrity con artist or something?
Yeah, I think you summarized it very well there. So he was saying how privacy coins will be the future Monero, Zcash, and Verge, and people are like, what the hell is Verge? And then all of a sudden it shoots up um, coin market cap into being like a top 20, top 30 coin. And so then it gets a lot more attention. Now, so that's why it's up there in coin market cap and we hear more about it. Now, since then, they were having a big campaign to raise funds because they were trying to develop a partnership never seen before in crypto. Is going to be one of the biggest partnerships ever. It's going to be like making history. So they had this huge campaign. I know it sounds too good to be true. They had this huge campaign to raise funds. So you would send Verge to them. I think they raised like 70 million or something just for this partnership. And there's a lot of rumors what the partnerships were. And of course, you buy the rumor is how it works in crypto. And the price of Verge shot up, and then it was announced during the week that the partnership is with Pornhub.
Porn coin.
So, of course, the way it works is you buy the rumor, sell the news. So it really has plummeted since, and I think they've lost a bit of credibility more because people feel that, okay, this is the big partnership. I think they expected more than that. And surely the likes of Pornhub can just like turn to the developer and tell them, oh, can you just start accepting Ethereum, Bitcoin, or whatever. It kind of makes you feel that Verge are effectively paying them to make a developer accept their coin. And also there was some Verge Pornhub advertisements that look really cheesy as well. And looks like Verge paid for that. So it's almost like the funds were raised just for marketing reasons. And we'll see how the community will react in the long term. But again, a lot of trust was potentially eroded for a while. People thought it was a huge scam, the whole thing, and Verge went silent for a while, and people got very, very nervous. And then, I guess in one way they were relieved to see that it wasn't a scam, but then disappointed to see who the partnership was with.
I still can't get over I don't know. I've got phrases like "touch me in the Verge" coming or something like the name. Oh, I get my mind out of the gutter here. But I don't know. I think it does make sense that Pornhub would want to accept some sort of privacy coin as opposed to something where every transaction can be traced. But yeah, it seems to be a little underwhelming. I guess, yeah, trust is a big issue in crypto, and I guess we're seeing that nowadays.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing about crypto is that the ecosystem is still very, very new. Like 2 years ago, we didn't have this many coins, or even these big mega coins, as some people call them, in crypto. And while this ecosystem matures, I think that I'm sure we have better trust, to be better collaboration, better partnerships in the future. But at the moment, I think some of these coins are just happy for any win. Okay, we have a partnership with something that has a brand, and they get very, very excited about it. And but I guess these are wins for some. But in the bigger picture, I'm sure that maybe Verge could be a huge privacy coin in 5-10 years because of this move. Who knows? But this is the world we're in. It's the wild, wild west. Guys need to make ends meet. They need to get adoption going, and I guess they're doing it however they can.
I just want to point out that this is not the worst partnership that they could do. I'm just thinking from Pornhub's point of view, wouldn't, like, I could imagine that no one would want to pay at all. And if you found a way for people to keep their privacy and while paying for subscriptions, that I think from Pornhub's point of view, they'd probably be very happy about this sort of thing. Maybe it's underwhelming, but it's certainly, I could think of worse partnerships. I don't know.
True, but I guess maybe this is the start of something. Maybe we'll see more of these campaigns targeting various institutions that need some payment help. Yeah, you're right. But you're right. It's not the worst, but we'll see. I'm very curious to see the long-term effects of this, because it could end up being a proven blueprint that many other coins who are potentially struggling with adoption could use. So we'll see. I'm very excited to see how it works out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a challenge to get any of the big companies to adopt any blockchain thing. Everyone is excited about it, but there's all sorts of questions around big brands, because big brands are generally publicly traded and therefore heavily regulated. And so whether they're allowed to buy coins is even a question with some of them. I got that question this week. I don't know if I told you, Neal, but I finished a first draft of my white paper for MindSpider, and it's looking very good. And it's in a form where I'm pleased with it, and started sending it around to get feedback from individuals, advisors, and people I trust. And the feedback I've gotten so far is quite positive. But one question that I did get is, what sort of legal help do you need in order to get this off the ground, and what sort of trust do you need in order to make sure that big companies can buy your coin? And I think that's going to be a challenge a lot of companies face. And the getting even one brand to say, okay, yeah, we're going to accept Verge, even if it's not the highest quality brand out there. I guess you take your wins where you get them.
Exactly.
All right, Neal, is there any announcements or any news that we need to announce?
Not at this moment. We've no events happening, so
that is not true. Haha.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
May the 3rd. May the 3rd is going to be our next Blockchain Unpacked event in Berlin. We've got a good friend of mine, my former CTO, who's starting his own startup called the Gust.Network, and he's basically built his own prototype and his own blockchain in his spare time. He's a very smart guy, and so we're going to have him in and talk about basically some technical aspects of blockchain and what he sees as the future of decentralization. So that's on May 3rd, Impact Hub Berlin, and we'll have a link to the meetup so that people can join in the comments.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, have a great week, Neal. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.